Dennis Yu, the man himself. I'm really excited to have you on here. Thank you for joining us today.
Awesome, George, and I'm happy to see you grow and help roofing businesses.
Dennis, you have been in the marketing industry for a very long time, longer than I've been alive.
Yep.
And you've been teaching marketing for almost just as long. But for anyone who doesn't know who you are, can you give us the quick and dirty behind yourself, Blitz Metrics, and how you kind of found yourself into the home service marketing world?
Hey, I was a search engine engineer back in the late 90s before you were born. And I discovered I had a penchant for data because I'm Chinese and I'm good at math and large data sets, statistics, cranking log files I was good at. And so we built maybe the world's largest operating system and database back at Yahoo. It was so big that you couldn't even open it if I gave you the files. So we had security just because you couldn't even open the files. And I learned about like what people were searching on. And we had Yahoo Mail and sports and finance and shopping and travel and search and horoscopes and all these different things that people would do. And I found that the most interesting, most repeatable, predictable thing that people did was local. Because when someone had a broken toilet or they had a traffic ticket or their lawn was dirty, you could see that same pattern of behavior, George, reflected across hundreds of millions. I think we had 250 million in our database.
Wow.
And it told me the biggest opportunity was in local. It wasn't in trying to start some flashy AI software startup. It was in actually helping for every dentist, there's like 100,000 other dentists that need the same thing. There's 100,000, more than that, real estate agents, every local service category. And my whole thing was creating jobs for young adults because I had a mentor who was the CEO of American Airlines, which is a whole nother story. And he mentored me. And I thought, man, I had so many unfair advantages because of these connections. As you can imagine, the kinds of people I got to meet, I had no business hanging out with like a Margaret Thatcher or George H.W. Bush. Like, don't get political on me, but I got to meet a lot of people. Okay. And not the name drop either. Like I had so many advantages. And, mentors taught me. I mean, there's things that that you don't know, but the things that you don't know that you don't know, and just little bits of advice on things I didn't even see because we all have blind spots. And I thought, how do we make that? How do we scale that? Because as an engineer, I want to repeat. I want to figure out a way to automate and scale things. And how do we solve the problem of the economy, which is local service businesses are the heart, and home services are even like the core of that. And the roofers and landscapers and plumbers and electricians and all these people, they're hanging Christmas lights, they're fixing your garage door. The house is the most valuable investment people have. Of all the people that are millionaires in America, the majority of them it's through their home and they invest in fixing their home and all these things around home services and PE coming in and all that. So I thought, why not solve two mega problems at the same time? One mega problem is the young adults that are coming out of college and don't know what to do. And the other mega problem is these local service businesses that they are trying to do marketing, but they're too old to do it. So they have to find some agency or young adult to do. I'm too old for this. Back in my day, we had HTML. And so what an amazing way to bring folks together. And like you're a living example of that. You as a young adult have a natural affinity, deserved or not, with technology. Because old people like me don't seem to understand social media and AI and that old people like me, that whole thing. And that's creating jobs for you. You're helping create that next wave of these young adults that are helping the people who need it the most, which are these, roofers and folks that, a roofer does it. What does a roofer know about like the crazy AI stuff that we're doing with ChatGPT Atlas and Agent Mode and all that? Like, should they have to mess around with that, or can we create tools? Can we, help out the Georges and Marcos and Jacks and all these other people? And look at we had a bunch of people sign up just in the last month. A lot of folks like you who are awesome, who are doing incredible things. And that's helping lots of local service businesses. And I'm sort of the coach of this. I get to stand back and watch everyone score a goal, and I live vicariously. I'm like the soccer coach, and the kids in my team are scoring goals and winning, and I feel good about that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Great way to kick it off, right? Great intro. That's awesome. So, it, going off of that, I mean, you've worked with thousands of business owners over your time. You've had direct influence to thousands of businesses over your time and over your career. Right now, in today's day and age, what's one of the biggest misconceptions that you see contractors, roofers believing about marketing and how marketing is changing right now?
Well, contractors think that marketing is something you just pay someone else to do. Just
Hmm.
like if you were chubby and you wanted to lose weight, well, you can hire a weight loss coach, but ultimately you have to eat right what goes into your mouth. You have to go to the gym. You have to sleep and take care of your body. You can have a coach. You can buy all kinds of tools and gadgets and, the thing that tells you how you sleep and all that. But ultimately, you have to do that. And because of the nature of the economy and marketing in general, it's easy for roofers to believe, because all these guys have tools, that the answer is the tool. The answer is you hire this other agency. I'm not saying don't hire agencies. I'm not saying don't use the softwares. There's lots of softwares and tools, and a lot of people will try to sell you, but not realize the extent to which you can make the phone ring and take care of your customers and run a roofing business is the degree that you actually do great work, that your crews show up on time, that they don't leave the gate open and the golden retriever runs out into the street, or like those kinds of things, like how well you actually do your job is amplified through these tools, amplified through ads, amplified through this SEO thing, which is the easiest scam to sell. Now there's all the rank in ChatGPT in 30 days guaranteed. Also the scam, the latest version of the scam. So contractors, because they've been conditioned by the vendors who have a vested interest to make you believe this stuff is, oh, this is a complicated technical thing. You're a roofer. You wouldn't know anything about it. You do the roofing and I'll do the AI and digital stuff. And that way we each do the thing that we're good at, right? Which is a convenient lie. That's the lie. And once AI has gotten so smart, it's eliminating those charlatans. They don't know that they're charlatans because they go to church on Sunday and they love their families. They're charlatans. They're just going to church on Sunday charlatans.
Hmm.
Charlatan because they're selling something that isn't real, something
Hmm.
that physically isn't possible. It involves trickery. It involves white labeling to someone else who's white labeling to other people. So 99% of the people that are selling services in digital marketing and SEO and AI, or whatever you want to call it, they're salespeople. And they're trained on a script to say certain things, and it's all about closing. And as long as you know more than that other roofer, which is easy because they don't know anything, they know this, right? Then you can sell them. And then the delivery, you don't have to worry about delivery because you just blindly hope and trust that the tool that you have, or the majority of agencies, George, outsource. They white label someone else who does the work. So really the agency is just a couple salespeople, and
Yeah.
they sign them up, push it off through the project management system to someone else who supposedly does great work. I coach the top guys that do white label ads and white label websites and white label. So I know how that, I know the dirty little secret about how that stuff works. But contractors would never know that. How would they know that the majority of the work, if it's even being done, is being white labeled? And even the agency owners who are salespeople, they they'll swear up and down it's not being white labeled. But I can look at any roofer or landscaper and I can quickly see, like, I know who did this. I can tell based on how this is being done. And they swear up and down they're not white labeling. And then if you were to ask them to inspect the quality of the work, they won't know how because they're salespeople. You and I, George, are mechanics. You can't fool me.
Yeah. So in that case, what do you like? What are some of the unseen areas that kind of give it away, that separate the pros from the amateurs, from the people that are just buying what the salespeople are selling, and the people who take your advice and really get in there and collaborate with these marketers, with these agencies, with these young people? What is the difference between the two? What do you see?
Well, the easiest thing is just use analytics. So people that sell SEO, which usually they're selling $20,000 websites and dressing it up as this big thing, Easy in 5 seconds. I can go to Ahrefs or SEMrush or whatever your favorite tool is, and I can see what keywords they rank on. I can see how much traffic there is. I can do it without even any access because it's easy, just like Google has all this data, right? I can see what links were built. I can see whether the content, the pages on the website actually adhere to Google's guidelines. And then these guys, once they're exposed, they'll swear up and down, oh, no, no, we follow Google's guidelines. Oh, we do a lot of work. Oh, this SEO thing's so complicated. We just got to give it more time, or it's seasonality, or this Dennis guy, he's a scam. You know, you can't trust him. He's just trying to get you to switch to him. There's this one guy. He came to me. He's what's his name? He's in Phoenix. He's a plumber at Fountain Valley Plumbing. And he said, I paid this guy $20,000 to build my website and to do SEO. And I trusted him because I saw him speaking at the conferences, and he seemed like a knowledgeable guy. He was a family man. He went to church on Sunday. And but the phone isn't ringing, and I have a bunch of guys that are standing around on salary, and I'm on the verge of bankruptcy. I have to let go of all these people because the phone's not ringing. But meanwhile, it's been 6 months. I'm continuing to pay this guy all this money. So can you help me, please? This guy reached out to me. I don't know who this guy is. So we got on a Zoom call. I told you in 5 seconds, we did the audit and found this guy provably has done nothing. I mean, he can swear up and down like whatever, but there's no, like, the content is garbage. There's no links that are being built. It doesn't rank on any keywords. There's no evidence of any sort of performance. There clearly no phone calls. Like, we logged into the Google My Business. We logged into the Google Ads. This agency hadn't done anything. So I said to this guy, I know you're out of money. You can't even afford to hire any of our guys. But I'll tell you what, send a note to whoever that agency was that took your 20 grand and plus the additional 3,500 every month or whatever it was. Ask them for a full refund because provably nothing was done, right? And if you need to copy me, copy me or whatever it is, because I've been through this 100 times. So he sends that note, and then I go about my business. I just did a free audit, right? Just help them out. I do hundreds of these, and I publish them too, which you can see. Because it's the data. Why get people to step on the scale, and it says you're 450 pounds and 5'2", and the scale says you're obese. Like, don't get mad at the scale, right? It's fact. I'm not giving an opinion. I'm looking at the data. Can't argue the data, right? So, because I've done hundreds of them. I don't follow up to see what happens. I just provide that as a service because friends will refer each other. I don't even know who these people are that come in. They're like, oh, I saw that you were helping out this other roofer. Can you help us? I go, okay, sure. Let's just take a look at your data, right? Because that's who I am. I've done that for 35 years now, right? It's pretty hard to fool the math teacher, okay? You think you can, but you can't. So then a few days after that, George, I get this angry email from this guy who I'm like, who's this guy? His name is Joshua Crouch, and he's the agency. It's called Relentless Digital. And he said, you can't listen to this Dennis guy, and it's not true. And our people are good, and we're very competent, and we've been doing this SEO thing for a long time. I'm like, I'm sure you've done all these things, but I'm just like, maybe this one customer, for whatever reason, you've delivered a big fat zero. So you should either do the work or refund him the money. I mean, what could be more fair, right? So then he calls up Roger Wakefield, who's the plumber he's like the best, most famous plumber with 1 million followers, right? And I happen to be hanging out with Roger. He says, Dennis, this guy Joshua Crouch here, I don't know who he is, but he's saying he's got him on the phone. He's like, I got this Joshua Crouch guy on the phone, because Roger's a Texas plumber, right? And I'm like, listen to him. Let's just put him on speaker. Let's listen to it, right? And then Joshua Crouch goes, yeah, this Dennis Yu guy, he's like pissing on all of us agencies because he's trying to make SEO seem like it's actually easy. But you and I know that SEO is really difficult. You got to be an expert to do all these things. And I've been doing it for so many years. And Roger says something like, well, Josh, Dennis was a search engine engineer, so I think it's kind of hard to argue with a guy who was a search engine engineer, versus when you're talking to a plumber like me. I'm just a plumber, right? And then Roger and I go live for 2.5 hours. You can see it on YouTube, and we talk about how to do SEO for plumbers and other folks in home service businesses. And then from then on, Joshua Crouch Whenever I make a post on Facebook elevating, like you, I'll make a post elevating how awesome you are, George, right? Because anyone who builds software systems, we stand behind our performance, right? Not hocus pocus, not how good we are closing or convincing people to buy and overcoming objections and going door to door. And like, okay, I'm sure those are all valid forms of marketing. But, we track the phone calls and we track, just like use nail, like you can track the performance. You don't have to pray and hope and faith, which I'm not saying, you shouldn't have that, but you need to also have some proof too. But whenever I make a post and I talk about how people are doing real things, because you notice all my posts, George, on Facebook, I'm highlighting people that are doing real things. Like we posted a video this morning showing how Dave Carroll grew his business to $100 million. And I mentored him when he was, as he says, Dennis was just I was just a young pup and I sat on Dennis's knee back when he was like 19. I think he's like 31, 32 now. He went from he has a great story. He was in prison for, not ratting out his buddies selling drugs or, whatever. He was a drug dealer. He got out of prison, then started in home services, and now he runs dope marketing. And he still has other home service businesses that he owns. Incredible story. And I view that in like you, right? You can become a David Carroll. Marco is maybe 2 or 3 years ahead of where you are. And David is another 10 years ahead of him, right? But anyway, this Joshua Crouch guy, he says, yeah, why? But I went to a weekend seminar, and I learned how to do SEO, digital marketing. I have a certification, you see? Okay. So what about this Fountain Valley Plumbing Company? What do you have to say about that? Oh, well, this is, like he just dodged the question, right? So anytime I make a post honoring these other people, he'll come in, you'll see it, right? Like all these people like, oh, that was an amazing video, or oh, congratulations, David Carroll. Or you see this, right? Tons of people will come in, and I love to congratulate people. And then you'll see this Joshua Crouch guy come in and say, you better watch out, that Dennis Yu guy's a scam. I'm saying, who's the scam? It's so funny because then it's like, if you're a roofer, how are you to know who's real or who isn't?
Very true. Very true. They think a lot of people see someone on stage or they see someone on a podcast or they
Got a book.
see,
Look, he's
yeah,
got a book. He must be legit,
yeah,
right?
yeah. That's all it takes for most people, which is unfortunate. But why do you think, why do you think so many agencies overcomplicate things for contractors and then just
If
severely
you didn't make it
undeliver?
complicated, then people wouldn't buy it. If you told people the truth, which is SEO is an amplification of your reputation. It's looking in the mirror. If what's in the mirror, you like what you see in the mirror, we can make that even better, right?
Mm.
But there's things that you have to do. Like I can be a weight loss coach, but there's things you have to do. That's not a very appealing thing to tell people, which is to telling the truth requires like, yeah, you can lose 50 pounds, but you're going to have to do, there's things I can do and there's things you can do. That's why it's a partnership, right? It's not just you
Right.
write a check for 20 grand and then magically you're going to start losing weight. That's how digital marketing is sold right now. Anyone who
Right.
sells that is a scam, factually a scam. And then, of course, they don't like that. They don't want to be, they bristle to that. They'll try to change the subject, but, and it's not just Joshua Crouch of Relentless Digital. The majority, I don't want to single him out. He just happened to be the one that's trying to attack me. But
Mm.
the majority, George, of the people in digital marketing are doing that because they're coming at it from, they see digital marketing, agency stuff, as an easy way to make money. They're in it to make the money. How did Joshua Crouch and these guys get in? They got in because they see all these other money bros making money. I'm making money. Look, I'm serving landscapers. I'm serving roofers. And home services is the easiest category to rip off because these guys, unfortunately, are just not very sophisticated with digital marketing, and they'll buy whatever line of garbage there is. Like
Mm.
doctors are harder to rip off because they actually understand systems and they can look at charts and see like, okay, you're bullshitting me. Like I've paid you now for 3 months, but even I can look at the metrics and tell.
Mm.
Lawyers are usually like personal injury attorneys. You can hate them or love them. They're also hard to fool. But the easiest ones to fool are in home services because these contractors, bless their hearts, they understand, being up on the roof or fixing the water heater. But this digital marketing thing, that it's a mystery to them. So you can sell them whatever line of nonsense you want. And that's why there's so many people in there because they know it's a sales game from their
Mm.
point of view. You just sell them,
Yeah.
sell them, sell them, and then delivery, like whatever, will just like outsource to these other people. A white label, meaning you pretend it's your services, but really you're just paying someone else to do it.
Right. Right. No, I have a similar story of a buddy in Austin, Texas, a gutter business in Austin, Texas, who wanted to get on a call with me. I think it was a month or two ago, and asked me about this software that they were paying these people to develop for them to help streamline their operations and all this stuff. And as a tech person, software person myself, I'm very interested. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to see it. I'd love to get just to see what you guys are building. And we hop on this call early in the morning. It's like, 6 in the morning for me, 7 in
Mm,
the morning for me.
yeah.
And I hop on this call freshly awakened. And then he shares his screen. And the second he shares his screen, the
Go high
software
level.
pulls up and I'm like, oh my God, it's worse than Go High Level. It
Oh, really?
was, it was
That's the
some
most
sort of,
common one that people white label, but yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it wasn't, I don't necessarily think it was white labeled, but it was being developed by, he's paid $25,000 so far for it
Oh
to be
no.
developed. And it's been a
No one in home
project for
services
over a
should be
year.
building software unless you know what you're doing. Right? I'm a
Every
software
time.
engineer, so I
Yeah.
can build software. So, do as I say, not as,
Right.
No, I'm
Right.
kidding. No,
And
like you and I, we can build software because we understand building software requires certain technical skills. And the
oh God.
majority of guys that
Yeah.
claim to build software are salespeople.
Yeah. And that's exactly what had happened. I mean, he pulled up this software. I saw the portal immediately and he was going through all this. And I said, dude, I was thinking this myself. I didn't have the heart to tell him right then and then, which I probably should have.
Get a
But
refund and copy
yeah,
me on it if you need to be. I have a pretty good track record of getting
yeah,
refunds because
yeah,
when the salesperson gets on the Zoom with me and then they try to go through their line of BS, they quickly find that I know what I'm doing. And then I start asking questions they can't answer because
right,
I'm an engineer. And
right.
they're, oh, I have to get the engineer. Oh, wait, you didn't build the software? Oh, no, I'm the manager of this whole thing. I provide the requirements to the engineers. So what would you
Mm,
say do here? Oh, well, this is a really tough, no, this is a very technical thing. It's going to require these other people involved.
mm,
We have to, they'll find a way to dance. And then if that call happens, I've had this call hundreds of times. I can tell you what happens, right? Then when that call happens, they'll say like, "Oh no, we can't show you that because it's proprietary." Really? So if I'm paying you or this other guy paid you 25 grand for the software, then you should be able to it should be in a GitHub repo and we can examine the code, right? Because they're paying you, therefore the client owns the code. We can inspect the code. No? If you're licensing software, okay, I understand. You're licensing Gmail, you're licensing Netflix. You don't own the thing because you're just renting it like all the other people, which is what software SaaS is. You're renting
right,
software. When else built, they own the IP. Of course, they're not going to, of course,
right,
Google's not going to give you all their code, right? You're just renting
right,
theirs. But if someone is building bespoke software, you own the code. You're the customer. We should be able to inspect it. If it can't hold up to scrutiny, then there's lots of questions that come into play.
right. Exactly. And again, I don't think there's anything wrong with people selling services on Go High Level or repackaging something that's already out there into, something that works for this business because,
As long as they don't pretend it's theirs, and as long as they
exactly,
don't rip off the underlying customer, so, oh, it's 100 grand,
exactly,
this whole thing. No, you're just reselling someone's thing that has your logo on it.
exactly,
Let's
exactly.
be honest. Yes, you can resell what Go High Level. I love Go High Level.
Yeah.
Sean and Varun and the other guys are all friends of mine, right? I knew them before they started Go High Level. It's called
Yeah.
actually called High Level, but they put it on Go High Level's domain because highlevel.com's taken, but everyone calls it Go High Level, so whatever. But I knew them from way back then, and I love when people are leveraging existing software. The whole point of
Yeah.
software is many people like people don't understand this because they think software is some technical thing. But you and I, as software people, software is one person invests in building it, and that cost is shared across a lot of other people who are basically renting it. And hopefully the amount of money you collect from all the people that are paying a little something each month is much more than the cost to build the thing, which gives you profit as the software owner. But you're building something on behalf of many people who are chipping in for this one thing because we realize there's 100,000 other roofers that could benefit from this thing. So why would we build, just like for your buddy that paid the 25 grand, is he doing something so unique? There's no other gutter company that would ever need this.
No, no,
Then he should be
they're
building
doing
software, right?
maybe $4 million a year. Like I know companies that are doing 10, $20 million a year that are not that are not doing what he's doing, and I don't, yeah, I don't understand it at all.
So are they in the gutter business or are they in the software business?
Yeah, gutter business. I mean, that's what they do.
You know Marco, right? So Marco's cousin owns Butters Gutters. I think they're in like, oh, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Butters Gutters. That's a great name.
Yeah. And so he just started running these AI Facebook ads like I was showing you
Mm.
and crushing it. The cost per lead, I think it's like a 10 to 12 return on investment, right? Return on ad spend.
Wow.
And it works so well in home services, right? Results may vary. Sometimes it's a 6 ROAS. Sometimes it's, it depends on your business, how well you answer the phone, like all these kinds of things. But they didn't need to do anything special. They just use stuff that worked. Existing
Yep.
pieces of software, existing Facebook ads where you just tune it for that location.
Yep.
Just like the idea of use nail. Of course, if it works for answering the phone for one set of roofing companies, it'll work for any other roofing company that fits that same criteria.
Exactly. Exactly. So along those lines, along us talking about all these things that these roofing companies and these contractors are doing incorrectly, unfortunately, if
Yeah.
if you could advise a roofing company to only do three main things in their marketing pillars for the next 12 months, what would they be?
Number one is I would focus on completely pimping out the Google business profile.
Mm,
So all the stories, videos, questions, enhanced location service pages that tie back to your website, like rich service descriptions. People don't even know that you can do that.
yep.
Lots of videos, right? I would look at the PAA when you do a search on, roofing Boulder, Colorado, and it shows people also ask for. I'd answer those. I would ask myself those questions there and I'd answer them. People don't know you could actually do that. I would just pimp out the Google business profile as number one.
Mm,
Why? Because everything in the ad side, whether it's local service ads, which is Google's extension of GBP, or Facebook ad, all the meta stuff, which is now going to AI, automatic ad stuff,
yep.
Advantage Plus, whatever you want to call it, all of it is an extension of the organic. The reviews that you have, the content you have, it's all an extension. Everything paid, this is the mega trend, is an extension of what's there organically. So I'd
Yep.
start with the Google items, and then your local service ads will naturally perform better.
Yep.
So I do that as number one because that's just that this is an unavoidable trend. That the stronger your organic, the better the ads are because ads are being automated. Number two is I would make sure that I answer the phone 24/7. And that's where AI agents come in. That's where training up your technicians, because you should be able to send someone out that same day. So I was with a guy who has a $250 million a year HVAC company. Interviewed him at Tommy Mello's Home Service Freedom event. And he said his average job, this is an HVAC company, his average job is $30,000. And I forgot the number, but like 90% of the time, they send a technician out the same day.
Wow. Wow.
Then of those that they send out, I forgot exactly what the close rate was, but it's really high. Guess what percent sign up for the monthly warranty?
Oh
Because
man.
it's moving towards warranty and home services, right?
Right. Right. I would imagine a significant percentage, over 50%.
65%.
Wow.
And what does that say for the average home services contractor who doesn't offer a warranty? They're
Yeah.
missing out on incremental revenue. They're missing out on customer retention. And what the guy told me, you can watch the video. He said that this also significantly decreased their cost of acquisition and marketing
Oh
because
yeah.
that customer, right? And the
Yeah.
customer knows because they're on the plan, they get like a 20% discount on future services. And then they have their sister companies. So if you need something related to your lawn or whatever, like, that whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. That's
So
amazing.
that's number two is the operations and answering the phone and extracting as much value because the cost of the leads are going up. Therefore, you have to get to the lead, speed the lead and, sell the right way and all that. And number three is I would build reputation in your city
Mm,
and in your trade. So if you're at Roofing Process Con, which is where all the roofers get together in Marco Island coming up, I would be taking quick little 15-second videos with the other roofers. I'd see Lance Bachman. I'd go hunt him down saying, hey, Lance, one quick question. What advice do you have for other roofers in 2026? He'll say yes, right? He's got a big ego. And I would, whatever city I'm in, if I'm in Chicago, I would start interviewing other people I know in Chicago. Oh, this is my favorite pizza. I come here and I order the calzone with double pepperoni. Or, we just went to the Chicago Symphony Orchestra and we like all the stuff to show Chicago, Chicago, Chicago. I'm in Chicago. I'm with
Hmm.
other Chicago real estate agents and Chicago remodelers and general contractors and all, because, as a roofer, all the other guys, right?
Of course.
So whatever city you're in, I'd have a ton of little videos right off the cell phone. Whatever category you're in, plumbing, then when I'm at the plumbing conference, I would, network with all the other plumbers. That way I show the geovertical grid that I am connected in roofing in Chicago, in landscaping in Kansas City, in whatever the service, in whatever the city. And so that intersection of that line, the vertical, the thing that you do, you're a landscaper. In Bloomington, Indiana, Anthony Hilp's the number one Bloom. He was just here a couple days ago. You saw the videos. We were hanging out, right? Like he's the number one landscaper in Bloomington, Indiana. Is he trying to rank on landscaping nationwide? Not right now. I mean, he just opened up a Nashville location and he's trying to open up other locations. But right now, the majority of his money is in landscaping in Bloomington. So when people in Bloomington are typing in, tree trimming services, whatever, Bloomington, whether they say Bloomington or not, Google knows they're in Bloomington. So he shows up number one, right? Because he's trying to show that A, he's a credible landscaper, and in Bloomington is where he should show up. So you ask an agent, if you know that that's actually how Google looks at things, you'd ask an agency, well, how can you make me show up for landscaping in Bloomington? Do you know anything about Bloomington? Do you even know how far that is from Indianapolis? Do you even know like IU is a huge, like Indiana University is the population of Bloomington grows and swells according to like spring break and because of all the students and that whole, like, do you even realize it's called the city of trees because it's got so many trees and on campus that like it's all tied to the university and like if you don't know that, how are you going to help Anthony's Lawn Care in Bloomington, Indiana, be able to rank in Bloomington?
Hmm.
Or you don't know anything about landscaping and different kinds of trees. The way you cut down an elm versus an oak versus a pine is very different, right? And there's different equipment and different things that are involved. And therefore, do you know how to provide an estimate and how we use Jobber and these other tools and how to do that? If you don't know, you can't help on Bloomington and you can't help on landscaping. So then how are you going to help Anthony's Lawn Care in Bloomington, Indiana get more landscaping jobs? Because you have some magic software? Your guys are in India. What do they know about Bloomington and cutting down trees? Are there even any trees in India? I mean, hardly any, right?
Right. Right.
See what
Wow.
I'm getting at, right? I'm
Yeah.
exposing the obvious, right?
Right. Right. Clearly. No, I think that's awesome. I think the biggest part that I thought of when you were talking about the horizontal integration of, Chicago, Indiana, whatever that might be, um, is the trust factor. I think that's one of the biggest. Obviously, Google business profile shows trust through reviews and photos and questions and all this stuff. But I think one of the biggest things that I always hear other home service people talk about, and then I like to talk about myself, is people buy from people. They don't buy from companies; they buy from
Right.
people.
Yeah.
And so, if you can, as a home service company, as a roofer, show that you are not only yes integrated in your market, but also
Yeah.
integrated with the people in your market,
Yep.
everyone might know the
Yeah.
owner of Bob's Pizza Shop
Yeah.
down the road, and they love going to Bob's Pizza. And if you can show that you are friends with the owner of Bob's Pizza Shop, then that just invokes more trust. And,
Yeah.
everyone always thinks that you need reputation and you need, status from homeowners that you've done jobs with, which is true. But it also pays to have reputation and status with the other people in your community that are well known.
Well, the customers just happen to be more relevant, but the
Right.
stronger signal of reputation is localizing you to Judge Google so that other people can see that Bob's Pizza actually does have the best pizza, or Friday night
Yeah.
they have a pizza and beer special, whatever it might be. And
Of
so
course.
that works on multiple levels that people don't get. A, it works because it pleases humans and
Right.
human signals and humans that are looking and humans that look at reviews. But then social media can see that as well. And TikTok overtook all the other social networks as the fastest growing social network because it did facial recognition to
Right.
recognize Who is at Bob's Pizza and showing it to friends of those people, recognizing, oh, that's Bob's Pizza in the background. I'm going to show it to other people who have been there. Like that's another
Yep.
signal. AI, social media can pick up on that. Third, Google is approximating those user signals
Hmm.
and it's showing it based on what an intelligent user would do. Fourth, AI is also using the the social signals, the personal interaction, who checked in, all that, even more than Google, because Google has relied upon Trust Rank and Edge Rank and Rank Brain and all of these things on basically the domain. So the company name has been carrying priority, but AI recommendations and being recommended by ChatGPT, whatever, is largely driven by the trust of individual opinions.
Hmm.
That's why you hear Reddit and Quora. That's why you hear people talking about, oh, optimize towards Bing if you want to rank in ChatGPT, because Bing is owned by Microsoft and Microsoft kind of owns ChatGPT, like that whole thing. But
Right.
either way, it's still the same thing because no matter how you try to address these little fine-tuned things, the underlying heart of it is the actual thing that localizes you where you are to
Hmm.
show that you were in Chicago and you've eaten at Anthony's Pizza and your other guy who's a landscaper was also there and you had the salad because you're trying to lose weight and they had the double pepperoni, right? Those moments, absolutely, even though it has nothing to do with the commercial roofing job you just did, right? Those signals add trust, reputation, proof, experience, authority, relevancy to that neighborhood and sends a signal. So someone in Boulder, Colorado can see like, yeah, that's the roofing company in Boulder, Colorado versus Broomfield or Superior or Denver or the Denver Tech Center or Cherryfield or any of those other places, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Now, this is going to be my favorite part of our conversation here, but let's talk about AI because you mentioned it a few times in your past, in what you just said. And it's a hot topic, hot button. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone has something to say.
Yep.
Everyone has, a lot of people have a lot of incorrect things to say. A lot of people have correct things to say. And you've been teaching contractors about AI and about technology and automations before it became a trend, right? You've been doing this for a while.
Yep.
So, what do you see actually working right now for contractors, roofers who want results from AI and not just gimmicks, not just fluff, not just
Yeah.
trends?
So Marco Cipolla and I did a whole whiteboard session here on this whiteboard showing the four categories of AI tools where you need to make a selection, in your operations and like call tracking and ride-alongs, in your marketing, in your finance, like you got to pick one in each of these categories. And the tool set changes every few days because there's always a new one that pops up in each category. So you can never, that's a whack-a-mole game. You'll never win that game. The way to think about it, though, is the overall trend is we're moving towards agentic AI where humans these AI robots, agents can do things that humans can do. So as you and I have seen, and you have seen me demonstrate live over and over and over again, I talk to ChatGPT and we agree on what we want to do, just like an employee. And then I say, go do it. And it does it. It goes logs at the website, it makes changes, it edits the video, it runs the ads. It does anything that an agency would do, better, arguably, because it's smarter, can beat you in chess. And thus, it's a scary thing. And so the top people in the world of digital marketing in agency land are exiting. Why do you think Lance Bachman sold One SEO, which was the number one SEO company in home services?
Hmm.
I asked him. He saw the writing on the wall. Why do you think he's been buying up all these roofing companies? Why did he sell his SEO agency, which was arguably very successful? Hmm? Why? And I can name all these other people. Why did David Carroll, who ran multiple marketing agencies, decide to go into print, like postcards and lawn signs and whatever? Because he saw that the AI agentic thing crushes people that provide pure play digital marketing services, meaning agencies. Agencies are cooked because that work, agencies by definition are like a zit on the home service website. It's an inefficiency because the source of the traffic is coming from Google and Facebook and TikTok and whatever. And then they're an intermediary, an inefficiency that sits in the middle between the sources of the traffic and the actual underlying buyer, the roofer, the contractor. Think about it. What do Google and Facebook and these guys want? They want a direct connection. They want to squeeze out of this, because what happens is that stuff in the middle is often a 3 to 5x markup. And so these agencies blame, oh, the price of Google ads went up 7%. Right? Okay. And then they do a bad, they mark it up like crazy. And then they blame Google and Facebook and whatnot.
Hmm.
And Google just recorded their largest quarterly profit ever a couple days ago. $100 billion in quarterly profit, right?
Yeah.
Even with AI this and AI that is going to kill Google. And are you kidding? It's actually helped Google.
Yeah.
If we understand why that is, then we're going to understand where this AI thing's going and what you guys as landscapers, roofers, whatever, need to do.
Yeah.
It's not this Hollywood movie where the robots are going to wake up and kill everybody in Skynet and Minority Report and, the Matrix and the T-3000s are going to come. No, it's that anything that could be done through a computer screen will be done better, cheaper, faster with an AI agent.
Yep.
I go ahead and try to argue that. All these agents be, oh, no, 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 no. You always need a graphics designer, and a human graphics designer will always be like, you can stop with that now.
Hmm.
You're done. Okay. What value? This is like an existential crisis for digital agency people they're either in denial or they realize, oh, crap, we have to do something about this. And
Yeah.
those who are smart, with people I like to hang out with, they realize I need to do stuff that the robot can't do. Like,
Hmm.
I need to run a landscaping business. So I have ownership in a landscaping business, which is great because now I'm not just some agent. Before I was an agent, I did agency services. Now I have ownership. And I have ownership in Anthony's Lawn Care and Landscaping. Can you believe that, George? Why the heck would I have ownership in home service businesses? In fact, we're doing some of these where we don't want a retainer. I just want a little piece of your thing. And then we get our quarterly distribution for certain ones, right?
Right.
I would love to find a way, if we can scale your thing for use nail, I would love to have a little, equity advisor. Just take a little piece, tear me off a half point,
Yeah.
Is that not worth it?
Yeah. No, 100%.
Involved. Like, I would love to see that, right? Because then
No,
it's like, oh, I'm going to pay a fee. Like, I believe like the whole charge a fee, the agency retainer model is an outdated model. It doesn't align incentives.
hmm. I think Alex Ramosi talked about that too. I mean, years ago, about how the old traditional retainer fee of, pay me $1,500 a month and I'll do these three things for you is again exactly what you said. It doesn't align incentives, right? Because the agency just wants to keep you paying that $1,500 a month for as long as possible,
Right.
with as minimal amount of work on their end as they can. But
Yeah.
when, exactly like you said, when you have a vested interest in the success of the work you're actually doing, it changes the way that you approach the service.
Because
So
the incentives are aligned.
exactly. And I look forward 5-10 years from now at myself, and I think of that's exactly what I want to do. I mean, I as a person who works with AI day in and day out, and that's what I build for companies, I say the same thing. I say I want to get into something where eventually AI can't replace a roofing job, right? Like AI can't replace a plumbing job, a landscaping business, right? So I
Yeah.
agree with you. I want to go in the same direction once I'm able to, and so I think it's a wonderful way to look at things.
And those of us that have a long-term view, we notice and laugh at these digital agency vendors, peddling their retainers and whatever. They're basically prostitutes.
Yeah,
Prostitutes are just trying to sell the next John and turn as many tricks as they can because they know the churn is super high. And
yep,
almost every home service business I talk to, they say, oh, the last 3 agencies burned me. I
yeah,
know. I hear this
yeah.
over and over again. Well, then what if I try this agency? Well, you're probably going to get burned too.
Same thing.
From this whole thing. And so I'm a big fan. And whatever your belief is, you could be Christian or Jewish or Muslim or whatever. But I believe it's way better to have a wife than to hire hookers every night. Like, I understand some people like, oh, but the convenience, I can have a hooker anytime I want, and there's no like commitment. I just pay. Yeah, okay, great. You want to do that? That's you. That's the way you want to operate. But I'm about these long-term commitments and
Mm,
seeing payoff over time. Because when you build a relationship over time and they know you and you know them and there's trust and That creates this reinforcing kind of thing. And that's why you can see George among the friends that I hang out with. Just go to my Facebook and you'll see like who I'm actually physically have fly out to meet these people. They fly in to see me. These are people I've known for a really long time. And some of them have been able to exit because they get bought by Google or they IPO or something like that. And then Uncle Dennis gets a little piece of that. And sometimes that's been very nice, right?
I can imagine.
And someone bought me a new car, right? A few months
There you
ago.
go.
It was a Model X. Like, oh, that's nice. Oh, thank you, Dennis. I want, because I helped him, right? And so I would love to see that with you, right?
Of course.
Like
I would
Mark
love
was
to buy you a
really
Model
cool.
X.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have to do something very significant for you to want to do that.
Hey, well,
Right?
hopefully you can do something significant enough where we can get you into something crazy.
Yeah. And then the more people you help, now you see how the incentives change. So,
Yeah.
you're a young adult in our AI apprentice program, and you can see the other young adults, and you can be jealous, like some of them are further along than you. Other people are not as far as you. It's not even a comparison thing. Okay. There's plenty of money for everybody, but you're setting the example for all these other folks. And then they're not competitors of yours. You can talk to any of them and collaborate. I want you to collaborate. In fact, some of these guys, they collaborate and they don't include me. Like, we don't want Dennis involved. Dennis is going to criticize. It's like the kids get together. They don't want the parents to come to the movie theater with them. That's not cool. You
Yeah,
know, but
literally.
I love seeing that. And then you guys are helping each other. And then you're growing because you are helping home service businesses win in a provable, factual, data-driven way. And
Yeah.
meanwhile, we're flushing the toilet. We're draining the swamp of all the people selling nonsense. Not because we're trying to crush the Joshua Crouches of the world of Relentless Digital. That's the name of his agency. Not because we hate them, but because we believe when we turn the light on in the room, you can see everything for what it is. And
Yeah.
instead of just hungry, hungry hippo, sell as hard as you can. Like, I get it. Those guys are good at selling. But don't you think long-term retention and reputation is worth more than your ability to sell?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
If
I
you
think
believe
that's one of
that,
the most powerful tools, most
yeah,
powerful ways AI is going to reshape not only the home service industry, but everywhere, but specifically the home service industry for many of the reasons we've been talking about
yeah,
today is because AI is the light. It's the light switch that's going to turn on and show face to all these people who have been exactly like you've been saying, have been unfortunately taking advantage of a lot of these contractors because they just don't know better. And it's going to elevate those like yourself, like myself, like everyone in the apprenticeship who are whose goal is not to just make as much money as possible in a short amount of time as possible, is to actually, like you said, build these long-term relationships and get a wife instead of hiring a hooker every night.
right.
I think that's one of
Here's
the
the,
most powerful things AI can do.
yeah, here's the piece for you to clip, George.
Okay, I'm ready. I'll write it
AI
down.
will either destroy you or amplify you. How do you know? By your reputation. If you got a great reputation, AI is going to be able to push that to all different places, run ads against it, let the Google and Facebook and whatever algorithms see that to bring you more of the same. It is a mirror as an amplifier. And if you don't have a great reputation, if you're 3.7 stars on Google or on Angie and these other places, House Call Pro, like if you don't have that if your CRM doesn't reflect that you take good care of your customers and that you've trained your field technicians and customer service people and all that to do a good job so that there's multiple ways to prove that you've got a great reputation, AI is going to destroy you. Or more accurately, good roofers that have a great reputation, AI will amplify them and leave you in the dust. And that has nothing to do with whatever vendor you have or whatever agency's running your ads or whatever. The most when you see this thing all the way through, it goes back to the core ingredients that all of these tools have to work with. You could have the most amazing set of knives and a Cuisinart and what is that thing, the chopper or whatever it is, like you put it over the vegetables and it's like a
Oh, I
chamois,
don't know.
right? It does like whatever, right? Kitchen gadget, see on late night TV.
Right. Infomercials.
Gordon Ramsay with the most amazing knives and Sub-Zero refrigerator and Viking stove and the most amazing kitchen with millions of dollars of equipment. If you gave him dog poop, no amount of seasoning and slicing and putting in the oven and sauteing and sous videing it is going to make that dog poop delicious. I don't care how sharp the knives are. Oh, they're Ginzu knives from Japan. No, but if you have good ingredients, I'm about to go eat some steak, which is why I use these analogies. A5 Wagyu steak, amazing. I could put that in a freaking air fryer that I got from Walmart for $39. And I'm not skilled at cooking. Actually, I am, but I'll just pretend that I'm not. And I will beat Gordon Ramsay. But Gordon Ramsay's got all the knives and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's the ingredients. So yes, AI tools are getting better and better. The knives get sharper and sharper. The most important stuff is the ingredient, which is your reputation, which sounds theoretical, but as you know, with what we teach in the 4-stage content factory, first step is those ingredients. Then they get processed.
Yep.
Then they get posted to multiple places, Facebook, YouTube. Oh, what's the best social network? I hear YouTube. Like, no, all of them. They gets repurposed and processed to all of them. And then it gets promoted through ads, right? It gets promoted through sending people thank you messages, sometimes with, socks with their face on them, whatever it might be.
Right.
And that's the way to understand it, is that the AI is really just processing, posting, and promoting
Mm.
the raw ingredients. It's ultimately down to not however better you are. I'm never going to be able to beat other people in AI usage because there's always going to be like, there's just like too competitive. Okay. But what I can do if I'm a roofer is I can make sure that I have the best operations, and I also protect myself from people trying to sell all kinds of garbage.
Mm.
And I don't fall for that, even though there's lots of shiny garbage out there.
Yeah, very true. Where do you think in that case AI fits best into a roofing business right now? Is it their marketing? Is it operations? Is it
Well,
customer
it's all four
experience?
categories. Yeah, there's a video. We should insert the link below where
Yeah.
Marco and I spend 20 minutes and go through each of the particular tools in the categories. So even if you're not sure what it is, just pick one. You can always swap it out for another one later. It's really Legos.
Right.
If the AI tools are built the right way, and if you choose the mainstream tools, don't just choose some new cool tool because those things never stay around. You're choosing tools because not because of what they currently have, but because they still are likely to be your tool a year from now. Why are we using ChatGPT Atlas instead of Perplexity Comet? Arguably, Comet has a better agentic browser than OpenAI, right? I mean, it's factually true.
Right.
It's because we believe that Sam Altman and the fact that of all the AIs, they have like 80% market share in the same way Google dominates in search. I mean, yes, there's Bing and Ask Jeeves and all these other ones, but we're like, unless you're trying to innovate in technology, the bleeding edge, if you're a roofer, go with what's proven.
Mm.
It's literally that simple. You'll save yourself so much time, unless you want to be like your buddy who with the gutter company. Like if he wants to be a software company, knock yourself out, but understand that's a different game.
Yeah. Completely different. Interesting. Well, one of the things that I admire about you most, Dennis, and that we've alluded to quite often in this conversation is how much time and energy you spend training up the next generation of marketers, of service providers for these home service businesses, right? A lot like myself. So
Yeah.
can you talk a little bit more about High Rise Influence and what it is and why you guys started it?
Well, mentorship has always been the core of it. And humans are fundamentally oriented towards relationships. I mean, you can create bots that eventually in the sci-fi future can simulate humans, but we are human creatures and people buy from people, especially as service businesses. And you could hate on the school system and say that, a college degree is a scam or whatever it is, but there's something to be said about mentoring and apprenticeship. And if you're in the trades, you recognize that you start as apprentice and you move up to become eventually like a master plumber and you open up your own thing, but you had to go through a certification. You had to be, the inspector, the city inspector can come in and put like a green tag or red tag on like this water heater is done legitimately or not, right? There's a way that people become expert in an area. And it's not just because I say that I'm an AI expert, which currently it's the Wild West in marketing and AI social media. Everyone can just declare,
Right.
Josh Crouch can just say, I'm an expert. And how are you to know otherwise? But if you're a plumber and you don't have a license, if you're a surgeon and you didn't go to medical school, if you want to be a pilot and you've watched a lot of YouTube and played Microsoft Flight Simulator, are you going to get on a 737 with that guy?
Mm-mm.
Well, if you believe in the trades that there's a certification, why isn't there the same thing in AI and digital marketing? Hmm?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? There is. And that's our thing. And not because we say so, because that would just be some fake thing. Oh, pay me a couple $1,000 and I'll send you this thing in the mail, right? No, it's because when you talk to the top people in every area, Michael Stelzner, Social Media Examiner, Ryan Dice, a digital marketer, TikTok themselves. We've done a lot of webinars with Google. Like all of these guys, Facebook too, we've done a ton of stuff at their headquarters. They're busy running their network, building their software. They don't, that the missing thing is they don't create the training in this kind of program because that's not what Google or Facebook or TikTok or these other guys do, or the big conferences. They partner with folks like us. And we just happen to be, as of now in 2025, by far, there's not even close. There's no one even close to training up young adults to doing this. When you look at all the major players, who else has even 1/10 of the major players that we have that will
Yeah.
say this is the best program? And then if someone else wants to say that they have better training, like awesome, publish it. Go ahead and publish your SOPs, publish thousands of videos, show me the courses you have, put it out there for free like we have to prove that your stuff works. Don't charge $10,000 and claim it's a secret. Put it out there. Don't even require that people put an email address. Allow them to access it for free on your website, on your YouTube, on your Facebook. Put all the training out there for free and see if anyone else, ask any agency owner, ask anyone in marketing who has more SOPs that have been followed that are like just than us. Nobody. And anyone who's any good, George, like, oh, you have something good. I want that. I want to add that to our library, right? It's not like, oh, we're the only ones who can create training. No, someone else has done something. Like Marco's created a ton of training on lead ads for home services.
Yeah. I just saw those.
I
Really
created
good.
courses and all that, and I think mine are pretty good too. But his for home services, I think his are the best. Not because I think they're the best, but because there there are hundreds and hundreds of home service companies that are following that exact process and they're winning. The proof is in the results. And we'd love to document results. We love to do audits. Some people, when we do an audit, they sort of fail in the audit. And so then they get all mad. And other people, when we audit, it shows, ta-da, everything's great, clean bill of health. You don't have cancer, right? So our whole mission is the people who are doing it the right way deserve to be honored, deserve to get the customers. The roofing businesses, the plumbers that do a good job, even if they suck at marketing, they deserve to get the customers. And so the young adults that actually put in the time and do things right and serve those home service businesses like you and Jack and Sam and hundreds of others, they
Yeah.
deserve to win, not just because someone else is clever and cheats the system and has some AI hack. Those people should be squished. We should
Right.
turn the light on to expose the whole thing. That's why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah. And I
We can
think
tell no secrets, right?
yeah. Yeah. And I think that's so true. And you can kind of, I mean, you said it yourself. You can see it based on the track record. And I think that I think there's a ceiling for those sales bros who just end up, there's a ceiling for that.
They're on to the next thing. Yeah, they were
they
crypto
was,
a couple of years
yeah,
ago. They were influencers before that. They were social media experts before that. And then another couple of years, there's going to be the new thing. And then they'll be experts in that next new thing.
exactly.
Meanwhile,
Exactly.
we have still been here. And I've been in the same place for 35 years.
Yeah. Yep. And
And
you
you
see
know by
people like,
the fruit. You know the tree by the fruit. Look at all the people that have succeeded. And
yeah.
they followed a recipe. And we published the recipe. It's not a secret.
Yeah. You see people like David Carroll. I mean, like you said, $100 million. That's the big number that everyone always
And it's
talks
not
about
just because you
nowadays.
make a lot of money, because I got to be careful about saying stuff like that, because we have some friends that are billionaires and whatever. Not because if we talk about that, then that unfortunately attracts, the mosquitoes or the flies go to the, like, I don't want that. Okay.
Very true.
Actually, moths
Very
go
true.
to the flame, right? They see the flame, all the moths, they think it's the sun and they get burnt touching the light bulb.
Very true.
There's
Very true.
guys like David Carroll are successful in many ways other than money. He
100%.
cares about his family is number one. Number two, he
Yep.
cares about his team to make sure that they're all winning and creating opportunities, which means his company has to grow in order to create opportunities upwardly for his people. And
Exactly.
in the podcast that we published a couple hours ago, we were together in Minnesota and we spent time sitting down for a few hours, going through that, walking through his factory, interviewing his people, talking about his story, the whole thing. Amazing.
Yeah.
You can't,
And I just,
it took 12 years for that to occur.
Exactly. Exactly. And I wanted to say that you can't put a ceiling on doing things the right way.
Yeah.
Like there's no ceiling on performing and results. Like when you do things the right way. Like that's what I was saying. There always seems to be a ceiling with these sales bros that always cap out at, whatever number that might be or whatever
Yeah.
level of influence that might be because people know. I mean, eventually
Yeah.
it gets around. And
Yeah.
there's
And
no
it's like the
ceiling
money you'll
on
eventually run out. And you want shortcuts. Eventually it'll catch up to you.
exactly. Exactly. And in highlight in high rise influence, I mean, you're teaching people as young as 15. I mean, we have people
Yeah.
like Dylan in there all the
Yeah.
way up to, 20 somethings like myself and Marco and Jack and all those people,
And
right?
there's some people in their 60s, but we don't talk about that. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. We like to focus on the young folk.
No, you
Why
can
do
be
you
any age. No, I get hate from people like, oh, I'm in my 50s too. Like, I know, I'm 51. It's all about the mindset. But
right,
generally, I think we would agree younger adults tend to be better when it comes to social media and technology and learning new things like learning languages. I mean, it's the same thing, okay?
right.
Not hating on,
Exactly.
like, if there's anyone who's like 40 plus watching this, I'm not hating on you. I'm just saying our experience, the data shows usually guys in their 20s tend to do better at this. I'm not saying you can't do it, but that's kind of what the pattern is, okay?
Hey, he said it, not me. He
That's right.
said it, not me. So
Like
why
I
do you
learned
think
from
it's
Jack Flint. Jack is the CEO of High Rise Influence. I'm the
yeah,
CTO. Why? Because I have a real track record in building software. I've been a
right,
software engineer for a long time. But when it comes to managing these components of technology and AI, I'll be the first to admit Jack has got it better than I do. I mean, he is. I mean, it like I'm a facts kind of guy. Like, it's a fact. I'm not
yeah,
going to try to argue that. Back in my day, I was like, no, I'm sorry. What could you do right now?
yeah. Why do you think it's so important to get people into I mean, there's people in high rise influence that serve all different industries, but a lot
Sure.
of you speak a lot on home service. Why do you think it's so important to get young people into home services right now?
Well, the mega trend is that people going to college should only go if their profession requires that. So if you
Right,
want to be a doctor or lawyer, you have to go get, advanced degrees and whatnot. But
right,
everything's shifting towards the trades.
yeah,
And this is just the mega trend. And Roger Wakefield and I have made videos about that. Tommy Mello and I have made videos. I'm not trying to name drop, but this is the trend. And
right,
we don't want to try to like do things in a different way to be different. We want to
right,
leverage where everything's already going. And home services is just where it's at. That's
right,
where, and not the current, not like a fad, but this is where it is going for the long run.
yeah,
Because the only thing that's left once AI has eaten everything is going to be things in your home. Like the robot's not going to stick its hand down the poopy toilet anytime soon. Okay.
right,
So we want to create jobs that last. We want to create real careers, not supermarket checkout stuff, which Sam Altman argued last week shouldn't even be done by humans. That's not even work that should be. I mean, that's a little insensitive, but it's true. Like driving cars, like, yeah, it probably should not be done by humans, right? But what are the things that should be done by humans? How about stuff that requires real care, requires actually being there, requires like having a real relationship with mentoring? Like you could watch YouTube videos, but would you not agree? The reason why you invest in our program is because there's real mentoring
yeah,
versus you just watch YouTube videos.
yeah, 100%, 100%.
That's
I
what we
agree.
believe in. We're trying to do stuff that AI can't do, and that's where home services is. Home services is the last thing standing.
Right. Dirty Jobs. I forget the man's name. The guy from Dirty
Micro,
Jobs. Yeah, Mike Rowe. That's what
yeah,
he talks about all the time. That's
yeah,
his whole philosophy of the Dirty Jobs was kind of a quip. It was a funny thing to talk about, and it was an
yeah,
interesting show because it was jobs that no one wanted to do. Well, now it's jobs that everyone wants to do because it's not going to get eaten up. It's not going to
yeah,
get destroyed. It's not going to get made irrelevant in 2 years because it can get taken over by a robot.
yeah.
And I always,
Danny
I always,
and has two friends that they're making 70 grand a year, and they're just out of school. It's HVAC contractors, and
yeah,
that's awesome. And eventually, one guy's trying to open his name's Tom, trying to open his own HVAC company because he's working at a huge HVAC company, right?
yeah,
That's awesome. So the trades has a natural progression from being an apprentice all the way up. So shouldn't that be the same thing for
yeah,
digital marketing?
No,
right?
you're exactly
It's
correct.
not a new model. It's the model that it's always been. The sales bros in the last 20 years have created this internet glamour, Lamborghini bro model, but that's not what the world has been historically. We
Right.
want to go back to the thing that has always worked.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And for the business owners, why should they invest in these young people rather than just hiring another agency or investing in anything else? Why is it important for these home service businesses to be investing in young people?
They can invest their money anywhere that they want. And I'm not saying like agencies aren't good. I mean, there's good and bad agencies.
Of
You
course.
just have a lower probability of having a successful agency. And then any agency, you got a couple people that are good, and then the rest of the people kind of suck. And the ones that are good, they have to sparingly kind of allocate, usually in sales, because that's the most important part is as far as agencies owners. And then you get like some other people who suck and you don't really have choice. And the best customers always get the best people or whatever, squeaky
Right.
wheel. But wouldn't it be better? Like I look at my buddy Jeremy Newman, and he's got a $15 million a year restoration business. And for health reasons and various other things, he put his son in charge of that business. And guess who runs their marketing? We were having a call, and Jeremy said, "Oh, my daughter Mia is graduating college and she's looking for a marketing job. Do you think maybe you guys are hiring?" Or like, yeah, we'd hire her, if she can qualify. But wait a minute, didn't you say that you guys need help with marketing? Why don't you have your daughter Mia, who's graduating, take over marketing? Yeah, but she doesn't have any training and all. Like, yeah, well, we have the training. She should join our program, right? And now she's kicking ass. And Jeremy couldn't be more proud. And they're working together as a family. The
Mm.
father and older brother and daughter are having a great time. And I know a lot of people say don't mix work and pleasure. And, a job is supposed to be a job. And once you 5 o'clock, you go home and you leave the work behind you and you're like, yeah, but they're having their cake and they're eating it too. And
Yeah.
what an amazing thing. And you've seen this too in the last few months.
Yeah.
All these guys, I know it's mostly guys, but they're bringing in their sons and daughters, and they're taking ownership of their
Yeah.
market because they never really trust that agency. And maybe the results are good or not, but if there's a question, would it be nice to know that there's one person who actually cares for sure because it's blood
Yeah.
and it's your son or daughter? And because the average, most people don't know this, but if you have an account manager or whatever at the agency, you have an agency, you're working with someone from the agency, that person usually has 20 to 30 other accounts they're trying to balance. Can you imagine trying to have 20 or 30 wives? I mean, I know if you're a Muslim, I guess you can have up to four, but I believe you should try to have one wife if you can. I mean, and so that one person, even if someone's really smart and really capable and they work really hard, can they really deliver for 30 clients? It's so
Right.
hard to do. And try to make every one of them feel like you care about them and they're the only one. I just think it's so much better. The agency model is broken. It's so much better. You take a young adult, they're already preconditioned to learn technology. Of course, they still have to qualify.
Yeah.
And even,
Right.
old people can come in and qualify. You qualify, great, right? But how many old people do you see doing stuff that young people are doing? Like Jack Went and I, we were climbing expert cliffs in the Italian Dolomites. I don't see any 60-year-olds trying to go up those pitches. That's a tough thing to do, you
Yeah.
know?
Very
When
true.
I ran D1 track, I ran a 407 mile. Do you know how many 60-year-olds run a 407 mile? Zero.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, AI is a young man's game. And so it just, yeah, there's always the exception, but right down the middle, you see them, you meet with them, you see them in the Zoom calls, you see us hanging out. Like these are the folks who are winning. And I just
Yeah.
want to invest in I'm a data guy. If I see a pattern, I'm going to let's maximize that pattern. Let's not try to force the square peg into the round hole, right?
We were just about to wrap up. I know I've been sucking all your time away here, but
That's
we can
good.
do
Good.
a little bit of rapid fire questioning and then we can wrap up here.
Uh,
Because I want you to get a little bit, I want to get as much juice out of you for these home service guys as I can.
We got to
So,
repurpose this into lots of different pieces, right? We'll make the most.
exactly. Of
Yeah.
course we will. So, to kind of kick off our little rapid fire wrap up section here, can you tell us what your favorite recent marketing win has been from a contractor friend of yours?
Sal Sciorda of Plumbing Pros. Last year, he was at maybe $300,000 a year and was struggling. And now he's close to 1 million, which is great.
Wow.
And
3x in 1 year.
well, he gives all credit to us, but I give credit to the fact that he's done the things that we told him to do, which is
Mm,
when you go out, get reviews, train your crew to get the reviews and collect the videos. And so his Google My Business is stronger. It's largely coming through local service ads, but we have been repurposing content. We have a book that's on the way, which builds his
awesome.
reputation. That's a real book, even though AI is helping edit it, but it's real stories. So I'm super proud of Sal. He gives the credit to us, and he said that on video many times. And we had a steak dinner to celebrate that a few weeks ago. But the credit is all to him. I mean,
Mm,
our guys are doing like Luke Krausen is the lead on that. And, Luke is a young adult like you and Marco, where he's just kicking ass. I
mm,
love seeing that. I mean, people want to give credit to me, but, Luke is kicking ass. Sal is doing all the stuff that his crew's supposed to do. And the results, I mean, not everyone's going to triple their business in a year, right? There's lots of factors, but it just goes to show the recipe works. And
right.
it's free. It's not a secret. Just do things, right?
Right. That's awesome. That's awesome. What's one of the most overrated marketing tactics right now?
Trying to post every day on social media or post all the time or be authentic. That whole create more content for the sake of it is just a huge waste of time.
Mm. I was actually thinking about that this morning. I was on Facebook and I was just seeing content out there, and I was tying my shoes, and I immediately thought, I said, "Man, you can tell when people are just following. I need to post every day to post every day. You can tell when people are just trying to post, and not
Yeah.
when they're trying to post to actually create influence."
To be inspired, where you have something
Right.
worthy of saying. Sometimes I have nothing to say for a whole week. And so I post nothing and I have no guilt over it.
Yep. Yep. That's awesome. What's one piece of advice for any roofing company? This kind of ties into what we just talked about with your plumbing friend. What's one piece of advice for any roofing company that is trying to double in size in the next year?
You need to own your own marketing. So, sure, trust what all these other people have to say. You've got a bunch of agencies or whatever, but to own your own marketing, you need to have someone who you really trust on your team, ideally working full time or a son or daughter, go through the different stages of the audit process. We call that the quick audit. You can follow it. There's hundreds of them we published and see where the specific points are. It's like, you go to the emergency room. Oh, I have pain, right? Okay, we're going to do an MRI. We're going to take the blood. We're going to do the x-ray. And then for each person, we're going to find exactly what's wrong and then take steps against that. So for someone who wants to double or triple, it's going to be a different analysis, right? A different, you go to the doctor, you're going to have a different diagnosis and therefore a different treatment plan.
Mm,
Someone else has got an appendicitis. Someone else, they broke their bones. Someone else, they have low vitamin C. Someone else is a hypochondriac. Someone else, they ate spicy Mexican food. So they have heartburn instead of a heart attack. So you're not going to take heart attack medication or do heart surgery, even though that's the right thing for this other guy. So I totally get it. Home service businesses want to grow, but the prescription or the treatment plan for each one is going to be slightly different. I don't believe in one size fits all. So when people ask me the one size fits all question, oh, what's the one thing we should do? Well, the one thing that's most relevant for your business.
mm.
But you need someone who can actually look at the data, not just make a guess or say, oh, I heard this other guy say he did this one thing. Okay, George. So imagine like you talked to this other person and they were sick and they took this one pill and now they're healthy. Should you take that same pill that they took, even though you have a different thing?
No.
Then why do people do that in marketing?
Mm, I
It's
love it.
just mind blowing how just whatever the derogatory word is for people who behave this way. Yeah.
Whatever that might be.
I
That's
won't say
awesome.
that word, but you can insert whatever word you want to put in there.
Awesome. And finally, for those who might not know already, where can people go to learn more about High Rise Influence if they have a son or a daughter that they want to bring into the family business somehow, or if they themselves are a young person?
You go to highriseinfluence.net and see all the amazing stories. And my hope is, George, in a few months, we feature your story.
I hope that as well. Awesome. Well, Dennis, I appreciate you hopping on today, and thank you so much. And hopefully, everyone watching, you got something out of that. I know I sure did. I'm going to sit down here and rewatch everything and take notes again. But I appreciate it, Dennis. Thank you very much.
You're awesome, George. Keep it up.
Thank you.